Welcome back, my dear students. It's so good to see you back. How was the quiz? Good. I'm so proud of you that you are staying on top of it, okay? Be sure to do your quiz. That's the best way to put what you learn into practice, okay? And you will understand better when you put your hands on it and do on your own. You'll understand what you learn, okay? So it reinforces what you learn from Mr. Mac, and that's the beauty about learning with Score A Math Week 3. You learn, you put your hands on to it. That's how you want to do it. All right, good. Now in this sub lesson we're going to talk about algebraic expression. Okay, what is algebraic expression? Okay, now let's say for example, if you write, let's say for example 3x plus 4. Now this is an example of algebraic expression. Remember earlier we only talked about terms. Alright, now this is considered one terms. See that? And this is another term. Now 4 itself, by itself it's a term. Okay, so I can have, let's say for example, 3x plus 2y minus 6. Now you got three terms. 1, 2, 3. But they all are combined. And that's where the plus and minus plays into role, and that's what you call that algebraic expression. So algebraic expression contains one or more terms, and they are separated by plus or minus. So remember that, okay? So algebraic expressions are one or more terms, and they're separated, okay, either by plus or minus. All right, so it can be just all plus or all minus, doesn't matter, and expressed like in this form. And keep in mind that the sign in front of that number, okay, it's what belongs to that number, the coefficient. Okay, what I mean by that, I say for example, Mr. Mac have 6x minus 7y plus 2. If I had to ask you the coefficient for x, what's the coefficient for x? In this case it will be 6. And is that plus 6 or minus 6? You know that when the number is very front of an expression, it's plus, but you don't show it. Okay, so it's a positive 6. Now what about the coefficient for y? It's negative 7, because a negative belongs to 7. So that's a negative 7 is the coefficient for y. So I just want to make sure you understand the coefficient of each term in the algebraic expression. Okay, so next thing I want you to understand is when you have like terms, okay, in algebraic expression. Let's say for example, if I have a 3x plus 2y minus x plus 7. See, you got 3x and a negative x. They are like terms, so you can combine them. You can simplify them, and so that means 3x minus x, that will give you what? 2x plus 2y plus 7. See that? Now you expressed it in a simplest form. Alright? So in other words, the key thing is when you have like terms, if they're adding or subtracting, you can perform the operation. It's like apple and apple, you can add them. Can you add an apple and orange? No, you cannot. So keep in mind, okay, the terms. If this is an apple and apple, yes, I can combine them. This one is apple and orange. I cannot combine them. So it's a two different variable. So mathematics, very particular, okay, very particular about combining, adding. Okay, when the terms are not alike, you cannot combine them. When the terms are alike, you can combine them. Okay, so let's say for example, if I were to have 6x plus 2x plus 7 minus 3. See that? You got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. But I can simplify it into two terms. What do I mean by that? Because x and x are like terms. 6x plus 2x gives me 8x. 7 minus 3 is 4. See that? Now it became two terms. See that? 8x plus 4. Now in this one I expressed as a 4 terms. 6x plus 2x plus 7 minus 3. Then I simplified it, brought it down to 8x plus 4. Now because I can combine this to y, because they are like terms. It's like apple adding with an apple. 6 apples plus 2 apples gives me 8 apples. 6 apples plus 2 oranges, I cannot add them. I have to rewrite it as 6 apples plus 2 oranges. See that? Okay, so let's say for example, if I have 6x plus 2y plus 2x. Okay, now in this case I can add this apple with this apple. See that? 6x plus 2x gives me 8x. Alright, so I can put 8x, but y is in an orange. I cannot add them, so I gotta rewrite it. See that? So I put 8x plus 2y. Now if I were to have a constant, it's another number, then I just put plus 7 next to it, because 7 cannot combine with the terms that has the unknowns to it. Okay, you just keep them as a plus if it's a plus. If it's a minus, you keep it as a minus. Okay, so I can give it so many different problems. I could have given you 6x minus 3x plus 2y minus 4y plus 8, and ask you to simplify these terms, this expression, this algebraic expression. So how do you do that? So you group them. You group all the x's together, y together, and then the numbers together. Now in this case, I can using x and y. It could be any variable. It can be any unknown. I can use r and s, or m and n, or u or t. See that? Could be anything. But in this case, I'm just using x and y. Okay? So if I would, in this case, I kind of had them all together. See that? So I can combine these two together. So 6x minus 3x gives me 3x. Now 2y minus 4y. See that? Plus 2y minus 4y. From our previous lesson, I owe 4. That means you pay off the 2 towards the 4. Left is what? Negative 2. Okay? Because you know your negative is bigger than the positive, and you know the answer is going to be negative. Alright? So you're going to put negative. 4 minus 2 is 2y plus 8. See that? Now what's the coefficient for y? Negative 2. What's the coefficient for x? 3. Okay? Good. So that's how you do it. You combine them. So the key thing in this sub lesson I want you to understand is, like terms, you can combine them when they are found in a algebraic expression. If I give you one nice algebraic expression, you have like terms, you can simplify and combine them. Okay? Well, let Mr. Mac erase the board. Let's talk more about that. I'll be back in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, now let's say, for example, if I give you 5x plus 2 minus 7x minus 8. See that? So you have unknown and the constant. Alright, you can group them. What do I mean by group them? Alright, you can take 5x, see that, minus 7x. See that? This minus belongs to 7. What's in front of that? It belongs to them. Okay, when you group them, you have to move them accordingly. See that? I brought like this. Okay, then plus 2 minus 8. Now I can combine this and combine that. Alright, so what this will be? 5x minus 7x. So since they're the same term, the like terms, you can just take the 5 and minus 7 and do it that way first. Alright, and then you carry the unknown. So in this case, 5, you have 5 because positive. Negative 7, you owe 7. Okay, and you know that your negative is greater than the positive, so you know your answer is going to be negative. So now you take 7 minus 5 is 2, negative 2. Okay, and just bring the variable back in. Make sure you bring that unknown. Now before you put that, combine this. See, plus 2 minus 8, you have 2 and you owe 8. So you know you owe more than you have, so it's going to be negative. Alright, so I'm going to put a negative. 8 minus 2, 6. See that? That's how you do it. Okay, first you decide whether it's going to be positive or negative. So once you know if you have a plus and minus, alright, you're combining with a plus and a minus, you decide it's going to be minus, it's going to be, final answer is going to be negative or positive. Okay, the negative is greater and the positive is smaller, so I know it's going to be negative. Alright, then once I know that, then I take the difference of the two numbers. 8 minus 2 is 6. Then I put the 6 right there. Let's do another one. Okay, I say if I have a 7m minus 4 minus 8m plus 2. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to group them. Alright, group them. So we're going to put m and the unknown together and then the constants together. Alright, so let's put 7m and do I put what? Negative 8m. Very good, because this negative belongs to the 8, so you got to bring them together and put it there. And then negative 4, because that negative belongs to 4, plus 2. Okay, so what's in front of that? number, okay, the sign belongs to that number. Okay, kind of like Mr. Mac, trying to identify you, I have to look in the front, from the back I can't. I have to go, oh, that's Mr. Mac's dearest Scoy's Math Victory student. See that? That's how you decide on the mathematics, on the numbers too, on mathematics, okay? What's in front of them, okay? So now I can combine these two. Now they both are like terms. That means I can combine them. I can perform the operation. In this case is subtraction. Okay. So 7 minus 8. See that? But see the 7 is I have and I owe is 8. But owe more. So you know the answer is going to be negative. So I'm going to put negative. 8 minus 7 is 1. 1m. Okay. Now you look at that. Negative 4 plus 2. I owe 4, I have 2. I owe more than I have, so I know it's going to be negative. 4 minus 2 is 2. See that? You can drop this 1, because 1 you don't have to show it, so it becomes negative m minus 2. There you go. That's how you combine them, alright? Just like what we learned from our integers, alright? The negative numbers, dealing with negative and positive in adding and subtracting them. Same thing, as long the terms are same. Like, alright, the both has same unknown, kind of like apple and apple, orange and orange. You can combine and subtract. If it's an orange and an apple, you cannot combine them or you cannot subtract them. You just rewrite them. Okay, let's say for example, if I give you 6m minus 4n and ask you to solve this, you just rewrite it. Don't leave it blank, because that shows you don't know what you don't understand. Okay, this is the answer. You rewrite that answer. Okay, 6m minus 4n. You do not leave it blank. Okay, blank means you don't know. That means you don't know what you didn't have an answer for it. The answer for this is this. You just rewrite exactly 6m minus 4n. Alright? Of course, if I would have given you 6m minus 4m, now they're like terms. You rewrite it the same thing, it's wrong, because you didn't solve it, because they are like terms. You can't perform the operation. 6 minus 4 is 2, so it's become 2n. See that? The difference between this and this. Alright, so make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, unlike terms, you cannot combine them or you cannot perform the operation that was required. In this case, subtraction. And if it's like terms, yes, you can. Alright, good. So the key thing that in this sub-lesson, okay, it's the like terms, you can combine them in an algebraic expression. Unlike terms, you cannot. So always group them, but pay attention what's in front of them. As you group them, you take that sign along with it. Don't forget that, because it's very important. If you leave the sign behind and you just take the coefficient and the unknown and then try to group it, you'll make a mistake. Kind of like this one right here, okay? For example, if Mr. Mac to just grab the unknown and the coefficient, let's say 7m plus 8m, I forgot about the negative. Now look what happens. 7 plus 8 is 15m. That's a big difference between negative 1m and a 15m. See that? Okay, so there's a huge difference, so this is wrong, okay? So you take that along with it. Alright? Okay, good. How about we erase the board? Let's do hands-on practice, okay? So Mr. Mac's going to list out all the questions on the board, and then we'll do that way. We'll give Pablo a break today, alright? Okay, this time we'll give him a break, and Mr. Mac's just going to list it out on the board, and we'll do hands-on practice. So I'll be back within a few seconds. Hello my dear students, you ready for some hands-on practice? I know earlier I kind of said we're going to give a break for Pablo. Pablo said, Mr. Mac, I'm not a slacker and I'm not going to sit and not work hard. He said he's going to come out and still hand over the worksheet to you because he cares about you. He said, I'm going to work so hard for my students, for Mr. Mac's students, for Score A Math Victory students, so that they do well. So he's going to come on over, Pablo. I know you're a hard worker. Come on over. Hand over the worksheet. Yes, he's going to hand over the worksheet to you. Have fun with it, alright? And then make sure you pause the video. After you're done, invite Mr. Mac in. Alright, there you go. He just dared you to. Okay? Alright, my dear student. Have fun. Good. How was it? Pretty easy, isn't it? Straightforward, okay? So let's do it together, okay? I also already got listed out on the board. So the first question says, state the coefficient of m, the unknown m, okay? So specifically I'm mentioning for the unknown m in each of the following algebraic expression. Okay, let's look at A. M minus 4. I'm looking for, this is the algebraic expression, okay? You got two terms, m and a 4. But in this case, I'm looking for the coefficient for m. So what is the coefficient for m? What's the number that should be right here? That we don't show it. 1, exactly. So the coefficient is 1, okay? Okay, good. Now what about B? Now you got N and M, but I only want for M. So that means I'm going to take a coefficient right here. What's the coefficient right there? It's 1, but don't forget the sign next to 1, which is what? -1, alright? So be careful what's in front of that. You know, that belongs to that coefficient as well, okay? So which is -1, alright? -1, not just 1, okay? Even though this 1 is not shown, I was mentioned as 1 and then a negative with it, alright? So -1, very important. Now how about C? So what would be the coefficient? Very easy, straightforward, which is 3, okay? So 3. And what about D? Now again, we're looking for M, not for V, okay? For M, so which is 2 over 3, but the negative belongs to 2 over 3. So it's going to be -2 over 3. That should be the coefficient, alright? So coefficient for all that. Alright, good. You got it? Good job. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Okay, let's look at the second one. Simplify. What they're trying to say is combine the same term, the like terms, alright? So in this case, I can combine 7 and 4. Why? Because both has M and M, like terms. So that means I can combine them. Apples adding to apple. 7 apples plus 4 apples gives me 11 apples. So it will be 11M. See that? Okay, now look at this one. 5 apples minus 2 oranges. Because see that? The terms are not same. So I just rewrite them. Okay, be sure to rewrite them. Alright? And that is the answer. Okay, good. Now look at this one. You got 1, 2, 3 terms. But we want to simplify it. Because in equal terms we can combine them. I got -4v minus 2v. I owe more. Remember that? Okay, good. So that means 4 and 2 I can combine them because you know it's going to be negative, alright? So I'm going to put negative. 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to put 6v plus 6 right there. That's the answer, alright? Okay, now look at this one. We want to combine the like terms, alright? In this case, this terms are alike because they have a same unknown, and this constants are like. I mean the constants, okay? I can combine them. Numbers, I can combine those numbers. So let's group them. So we're going to put 4g minus 7g. Very important. This negative belongs to 7. So 7g. So I put a negative. -6. -2, alright? Now I can combine this two. I can use the pairing method, alright? So 4g minus 7g. That means I know 4, so gg that's already there. So let's just forget about that right now, but let's deal with 4 and 7 so that way easier for us. We know I have 4, I owe 7. I owe more than I have, so it's going to be negative, alright? So we know it's going to be negative, alright? So 7 minus 4, 3. So we're going to put 3g. Now look at that. -6, -2. I owe more. See that? That means I'm going to owe more. So it's going to be -6 plus 2, 8. There you go. That's that right there. Okay? Good. Let's look at this one. Now I'll give you in the form of fraction. Doesn't matter. Okay? No matter how, in what form I give you, these are just numbers. These coefficients are numbers. The unknowns are the one that you want to consider. See, they both are common. That means I can combine these two. Okay, I'm going to bring them together. So I'm going to put 1 over 3f minus 1 over 4f plus 2 minus 5. Okay, they're not common denominators. So I'm going to find the common denominators. See that? Once I know these two are same like terms, that means I'm going to just add them between the coefficients, solve them by the coefficients, okay? So I'm going to solve them by the coefficient, okay? What is the common denominator for 3 and 4? Very good, 12. So I'm going to use the 12. So 12 and then 12 and then minus f and f, okay? How do I go from 3 to 12? I multiply this by 4. If I multiply the denominator by 4, would I multiply the numerator also by 4? So 1 times 4 is 4. How do I go from 4 to 12? I multiply 4 by 3. If I multiply the denominator by 3, what do I do to the numerator? I also multiply that by 3. So that becomes 3 over 12. Okay, now the same common denominator, I can subtract them. Okay, but let's solve this one. 2 minus 5, I have less than I owe. That means it's going to be minus. Okay, 5 minus 2 is 3. See that? Now I can subtract 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so that gives me 1 over 12f minus 3. How do I get that? Because 4 minus 3 is 1. 12, the denominator, you just carry it on. The f, you just carry it on. Okay, so we already solved this one, gave me negative 3, I just carried it there. Alright, so pretty straightforward what we learned from our fraction. Okay, so keep in mind this is something we learned from our fraction. You gotta have a common denominator in order to be able to subtract them. Okay, now look at this one, we're dealing with decimals. So we got 6 minus 0.42h minus 2 plus 1.2h. So let's group them. So let's put the unknown together. So I'm going to have 0.42h, but look at this, negative belongs to that. So negative, and then plus 1.2h, okay, and then 6 plus 6, see that, positive 6 minus 2, see that? So now I can combine this and that. But look at this one. This one, I can rewrite this one as 1.2h minus 0.42h plus 6 minus 2 is 4. I can write that one. So now I can solve this one. But with a decimal, how do we do subtract decimal? Grab them by the decimal, line them up. Grab them by the decimal, line them up. So why did I do this way? So this way I have the big number subtracting with a small number. See that? So I'm going to grab this, put the decimal there, grab that, put it right there. So it'll be 1 and 2, and this one is 0, 4, 2. And I can add another 0 behind there. Alright, so that way I can subtract 2 with. Okay, now I'm going to subtract. Okay, so I cannot subtract 0 with 2. I borrow from 2, 2 becomes 1, 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 1 minus 4 is I can't borrow from 1, this time becomes 0, 1 becomes 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. See the decimal, bring it straight down. 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, so that gives me 0.78h plus 4. That's my final answer. See that? The key thing is everything that we learned from our previous lesson, which is this was decimal that we learned, and this was fraction that we learned, and then the rest, and then we also learned about from the integer, the negative numbers, adding negative, subtracting negative, those kind of things. See that? Okay. So and the one that we're learning from this lesson would be what? The algebraic expression, the terms. Equal terms, like terms, you can add them or subtract them. Unlike terms, you cannot add or subtract. See that? So that's the thing, the key thing. See that everything is kind of add on. What you learned from your previous lesson has been added on to what you're learning new, and just on top of that, it's kind of like a icing on top of the cake. The cake is what? Things that you learned previously. The icing is the algebraic expression. See that? Okay, so important, very important. You understand each lesson before you move to the next lesson. Because what you're going to learn now, it's going to help you in your future lessons. Alright, because everything is built on each other. That's why I must emphasize strongly. Make sure you be so strong on each lesson before you go to the next one. That way you will never have any problem. Okay? You won't find difficult. Alright, okay my dear student, this shows you should be ready for your quiz. Alright, okay, so go get them, Tiger, have fun with your quiz, and then guess what, this is also end of our lesson on algebra expression. Okay, and I'm looking forward to see you the next lesson. I'll be there waiting for you. Be sure to come back after you've done your quiz. Okay, and make sure you do the quiz. Okay, I know you will, because you are Score A Math Victory student. You're the best. You are the best. Okay, my dear student, I'll see you soon. Alright, bye-bye.